Hello, I'm Macro360 and I will do some commentary on this race. And yeah, I'm excited to see this one. Both good runners, and I think that it will be an interesting race with some interesting strats. So, starting up, we have the tanker chapter. Nothing really special happens here, and it's usually the closest part of the race since almost everybody has the same tanker. So the hardest part about the aft deck is not getting kicked by the guard, which has happened to Tyler before and this time he managed to avoid it. The next few rooms are not really that complicated, however the first boss fight, which will come in a short amount of time, is quite complicated, and Olga is pretty much RNG. She can go either left or right. So on very easy you want her to go right since it's slightly faster than she going left. And Tyler got right side Olga and Mayo got right side Olga, so that's a good RNG.
I've been with the unit since I was born. I
And
grew up on the
now
battlefield.
there is also
Conflict and
RNG because
victory
she
were
can
my
go either
parents.
back or
The
to the
unit
front.
is my
So for Mayu, she goes to the back, and for Tyler, she goes to the back. So that's bad RNG.
I have no one. Nothing except
And
nothing
both
else
of them are
matters to
having
me.
a really tough time shooting. Olga should not take that long on very easy. None of them got a dav drop. A dav drop is where you skip that animation of falling down, and it saves a little bit of time, but it's really rare. You don't see it a lot, especially in races. A bad menu from Mayo. Usually we do our menus while we are rolling or cartwheeling, depending on the character that we play as. So I would say that Tyler is about half a room ahead from Mayo. So it's not a really big difference, and Mayo could easily get in front of Tyler if Tyler makes a mistake. And here you can see two separate strats. Mayo is going for the more traditional regular engine room, and Tyler is going for the swag strat for fast engine room, where you drop down on the second line instead of the third line. It saves a second because you skip a cutscene by doing that. And a bad roll. You're supposed to roll high on the stairs and not near the middle where Tyler rolled. Decent sensors, not really very good sensors, but decent.
All non-essential personnel report to the holds in 10 minutes' time for the scheduled briefing session with the Commandant. You are ordered to continue manning your posts until that time.
So I'm surprised that nobody did a USP strat for this room, because if you shoot the first guard with the USP, it guarantees that the last guard is sleeping when you pass by him, because there is a small chance if you don't shoot the guard with the USP that the last guard will not be asleep, and you will either get spotted or you have to lose time and actually wait for him or shoot him. Interesting strat from Tyler. I've never seen that actually go behind and pick up ammo. Interesting, and Mayo had a tough time shooting the second and third guards, so quite bad guard rushes from both. And Tyler messed up ladder glitch. That's a big time loss. That's a very big time loss, and Mayo actually got it, so she's ahead. She's playing it safe. She probably knows that she's ahead, but I cannot guarantee that. And yeah, that's a big time save for Mayo. And two bad rolls. Yeah, quite bad. Actually, I wouldn't say quite bad. Very bad holds one from both of them.
Freeze. Freeze.
Both of them played hold to save. There's a faster strat where you actually M9 the guards, but it's quite risky to go for it in a race. Tyler is doing two spot photos and Mario is doing three spot photos. Two spot photos is slightly faster than three spot photos. However, if you do two spot and you're bad at it, you can actually lose more time than you're supposed to save. And it looks like Mayu messed up quite a few photos and took a lot of extra photos. Tyler got through tanker successfully and so did Mayu. The beginning of the plan chapter is not really interesting, nothing happens, then there are really not big ways of losing time. The biggest way of losing time would be to get kicked, but yeah, that rarely happens. You never see people getting kicked. And Tyler is doing the meme strat for this room and he's going to pick up the M9. Picking up the M9 was considered a time loss until BMN showed that you can actually go back, pick up the M9 and still don't lose time, and it's pretty much a meme at this point, unless you're doing M9 Fatman. If you're doing non-lethal Fatman, those extra bullets help you a lot. And Mario is doing a more traditional, I would say, caution strat. For a long time, people thought that the caution in this one saves you 2 seconds, I believe, or a second. And yeah, it turns out it doesn't. And now something that plays a really big role in the plan chapter is menu glitch. So let's see if they do it. And Tyler didn't unequip the M9. Mayu did unequip the M9. So to get menu glitch, you pretty much end the tanker chapter on the USP, and you have to unequip the M9 before the Stillman cutscene, which you can see Mayu in. And what that does is it puts your M9 on previous. So when you leave the Stillman cutscene, you can just press R2 and you will have it on previous. And I don't know if I made this mistake, but correction, you have to unequip the M9 before the Priskin cutscene. I think that I said the Stillman by accident. So this is actually the Stillman cutscene, and after this, if you did menu glitch correctly, you will have the M9 on previous. However, Tyler will not have it on previous because he didn't do it. And Tyler is going for clockwise bombs, the usual. And Maya is doing clockwise bombs. There has been a lot of research recently on conveyor belt, the two conveyor belt strats, which can be faster if executed perfectly, and a lot of runners are trying to find possible time saves to make that conveyor belt strat actually faster and easier to do than regular clockwise bombs.
What's going on? Respond. Communications with Strut D have ceased. Carry out.
And Mayo missed the M9 shot and she got kicked. That you never want to do that. Getting kicked is the worst in this room.
It's the enemy. I need help.
And yeah, you rarely get spotted and get a second alert in this room. A very bad strategy. So that's a good thing. Both runners did only one cartwheel on those stairs. If you do two cartwheels, you are a fake runner. Everybody has to do that. And yeah, correction here, there is actually a cartwheel that you can do at the beginning of Strat E rooftop, Strat E heliport, where you hold the, or at least that's what I do, I hold the down right on the analog stick, wait for Raiden to slightly turn around, and I cartwheel up the stairs. Tyler didn't go for it, but Mayu did, and she actually got it. So that's a really small time save. Cartwheels don't save that much time in this game, as much as you might think. So yeah, but the idea is that those might be small time saves, but if you do them a lot during this run, they add up. Every menu, every cartwheel in this game adds up over the run, and in the end, you might lose a lot of time or gain a lot of time depending on good or bad cards, good or bad menus, and so on. And now the worst room in the game, Strat A. So what we do is we defuse the Strat A bomb from the wrong side because it's slow to go to the other side. And what we do is we use two setups, what Mayo did, and another one where you go down and do a coolant rise. And Mayo struggled a bit with her setup, but it works. You have to be in quite a precise spot. I wouldn't call it very precise, but it's quite a precise area where you have to stand so that you can actually get that perfect position to spray all four corners of the bomb. And something that I should mention is that there are two types of diffusers in this game, a fast diffuse and a slow diffuse. A lot of bombs have a very specific setup to get a fast diffuse. In the case of the Strat B bomb, all you do is you just stand up. Don't move up and don't crouch. That's all. For bombs like the Strat C bomb, there is no such thing as a fast bomb setup. For the Strat A bomb, there isn't a setup for it. The Strat F bomb doesn't have a setup for it. The Strat C bomb doesn't have a setup for it. And what is Tyler doing? He picked up the sensor first. That's a time loss. So that loses a second, I believe it is, because you have to wait for the codec to actually appear on screen, like that. And yeah, you don't want to do that. You want to do what Mayu is doing and defuse the bomb first. That's a really outdated strat. Yeah, I don't know what happened. But we are going to the first boss fight of the planned chapter, which is Fortune. Fortune is what I would call a fake auto-scroller, a pseudo auto-scroller. It's an auto-scroller, but it's an auto-scroller where you can do specific things to help you save time, and you can do things that will lose you time. So what you have to do is you have to do a really specific setup where you turn to the right and punch 3 times, then crouch. You have to do that, otherwise you will lose a lot of time. And this is the last bomb of the bomb disposal, which is in the Strat A Deep Sea Dock. That was some interesting movement by Tyler. So the scariest part about this bomb is what I like to call the swim of shame, where if you're too close to the edge you can jump into the water, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to swim to the ladder and get up. So for Fortune, as I mentioned, Tyler will turn to the right and punch 3 times, then crouch. What so what that does is it makes Fortune destroy the forklift as fast as possible, and the fight has to progress. To progress, she must destroy the forklift. The fight cannot progress unless she destroys the forklift. And what the regular setup for this fight is, after she destroys the forklift, she will destroy the three lights behind you, and then you have to get her to destroy those 2 wooden crates, those brown crates, and yeah, I do a separate setup for this fight because I don't like that setup. I do the Tino setup where you actually move around and get her to destroy a lot more of the environment. So coming up is the dangerous chaff. Yeah, that was scary. So that is called damage cancel. Damage cancel is where you detonate the mine, you pretty much hit the mine, but you are at the limit of not taking damage. So you are as close as possible to the mine while you are still at range to not get blown up by it. So I believe that both of them picked up the chaffs on their way to Stratzy on the BC connecting bridge, so they won't have to deal with those scary claymore mines that surround it. And I'm seeing a USP from Tyler, so no non-lethal Fatman. And speaking of Fatman, Fatman is the next boss fight in the planned chapter, and it's the first actual boss fight since it's not a fake auto-scroller like Fortune is. And yeah, getting shot in Strat F, you don't really see that a lot. Most runners usually equip the M9, shoot the guard, and then unequip it. And people who do non-lethal Fatman just keep it, the M9. Decent Fatman. That was a pretty decent lethal Fatman from Tyler. And both of those bombs that you defuse during the Fatman fight have a setup to get a fast bomb, and so does this big bomb under Fatman. All you do is you press left once and that's it. Mai is also doing lethal Fatman, but she didn't get the fast defuse. She cartwheeled late. That's bad. That's the worst RNG that you can get from the fight. But I think that she did get the fast defuse for the second bomb. And now we're moving on to the Shell 1 core, where we will meet Ames. Ames is the big RNG decider of this run. So hopefully we will see two God Ames. And Tyler didn't go for the fancy cartwheel up those stairs, that saves a little bit of time. And he's enjoying the BMN menu, where you pretty much select the AK and equip it while you're standing still, immediately after you pick it up. B2, there was a recent strat discovered called the Claymore setup for B2, the Claymore strat, which saves a bit of time because it guarantees that you get a fast elevator, because the elevator stays open. That can be faster. However, if I believe that it's identical if you get a fast elevator. So as you see, Maya did a BMN menu, and she equipped the AK while standing still.
Retinol pattern recognized.
And Maya's doing Claymore B2. Yeah, you usually don't want to do the punch buffer there. You want to do it on the stairs. So this is quite a slow Claymore strat, but it works.
King.
So I wasn't even paying attention to what aims Tyler got, but given how much time it took, I think that it was a decent aims, quite a good aims, definitely.
Backup. I have an unknown target.
So let's see what aims Mayu gets. So she got the old lady spawn, where everybody in the room except Ames is an old lady. Yeah, it's really hard to spot Ames in that spot. He is basically camouflaged while he's in that spot. While on Tyler's end, he's going to pick up the PSG-1 and he's going to go to the Harrier, the big gatekeeper of the run. So as a side note, since somebody confirmed something for me, a perfectly executed Claymore strat is slightly faster, about 1 second slower. It's actually slower, I'm sorry. It's 1 second slower than a perfectly executed B2 with a fast elevator. And what a lot of runners will do, but for Europeans is not really that hard, is you can change the time of your laptop or PC to get the old relay despawn, because I believe it happens from 10 to 11 p.m. or 11 to 12 p.m. But it's late at night pretty much. So Tyler, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I think that's high damage 5+1. He missed the +1 shot, so that's not a very big time. Actually, it is quite a big time loss if you miss that +1 shot. It was really scary. I usually wait for it a lot and shoot it pretty late. So I don't know how much time it loses, but it loses about 10 seconds, I want to say. 14 seconds. That's even more than I thought. The leap of faith didn't get someone this time. So let's see what Mayu does. 1, 2, and I think this is this. She's probably doing 2 plus 5 or 2 plus 6. I didn't even realize this. So Tyler is apparently doing chaffless, so that means that he didn't pick up any chaffs. This is this is faster than picking up any chaffs. However, it's not really very easy to execute.
Oh, I'm going to go in my pants. Nobody's looking, right?
Oh, too early. He pressed triangle by accident. And Mayo missed one of the flyover shots. And that's quite a bad area. That lost quite a lot of time. And extremely scary chaffers by Tyler. And Mayu is now doing a more traditional chaff method, where you throw 2 chaffs. And now we're going to the infamous Nikita pickup. The hitbox of the Nikita is deceptively big. And yeah, it's definitely not as small as you might think, and you can pick it up from meters above it. That was a good Nikita pickup. And now let's see if Tyler kills the president like Apache did on world record pace.
What are you doing?
He didn't. So to kill the president, you have to shoot him twice. And not only that, but it's really hard to shoot him on very easy, since he runs away. Let's see what Nikita pickup Mayu gets, if she gets a good one or a bad one.
I took these photos.
That's a good one. Will Tyler do swim glitch? That's the big question. He didn't shoot the USP. Most people shoot the USP when they do swim glitch, and he doesn't. That's a smart move because he's probably watching my stream and he knows how ahead he is. And the patch with the excuses of not killing the president. And now, another big question. Will we see a BMN special where we lose 50 seconds on Vamp 1? That was a safe Vamp 1, but Tyler didn't fail it. So Tyler is now beginning the best part of the game, which is the MI escort, and I really want to see something called the Phantom, called the Phantom Call. That's extremely rare, but I want to see one. A Phantom radio call is pretty much when you shoot the guard, you kill him, but for some reason the radio call for enemy spotted requesting backup that still plays. Even though you killed him before he can call and nobody hears him. It's a really weird glitch, I would call it, and it's really interesting. It happened only once in the league, and Platonic, he played it like a master. So the moment of truth, will we see a phantom radio call? And no phantom radio call. And that is a glitch called Emma Bump. If you bump Emma into the load zone, she will spawn in the next room slightly ahead and it saves 3-4 seconds. And now the most exciting part of the entire run, the highlight of the run, sniping. And no phantom radio call for Mayu. And sniping. Sniping, you really can't save time on sniping. There aren't a lot of ways to save time on sniping. However, there are a lot of ways to lose time on sniping. So there is some criteria for sniping. There are some rules. You are not allowed to look at Emma. You are not allowed to lean in first person. You are not supposed to stand in weird spots. What you're supposed to do is you want to stand on the spot where the thermal goggles pretty much spawn are. You don't want Emma to get spotted. You don't want to call Snake to do her job for you. And I think that's pretty much it. And don't zoom in with the scope. So, since nothing happens during sniping, I will want to take this time and talk a bit about the league. So, this is the MGS2 Very Easy League. It is hosted by MGSR, Metal Gear Speedrunners, and we will have a lot of races every week. On Thursdays, they will be on the MGSR Twitch channel, and for the rest of the races they will be either on each runner's respective Twitch stream or in a Discord VoIP race. In this case, this is a Discord VoIP race. And also I think that I should talk about this. Another interesting time loss is shooting the birds, shooting the seagulls. Because if you shoot too many seagulls, you will get an extra codec call and it loses a bit. I really don't like this. Both runners are just sitting there looking in first person. I hate that. I always shoot Snake, actually Pliskin, because reasons. I shoot them all. I do something. I just don't like to stand there and do nothing. So I think that the difference is 2 minutes, I think, between the runners. And now, Vamp 2, don't blink or you'll miss it. Yeah. Uh, Tyler went for the meme headshot. So that's actually slower than aiming and shooting at his leg or just spamming shots. So this is one of the scariest rooms, EF after sniping. If you fall down, you will lose upwards of 50 seconds.
It's been a while, hasn't it? Jack the Ripper? You know this fellow? You remember me, don't you? You've grown.
And now I want to give a very special announcement.
High
If you don't
concentration of
follow
cerebral
Apache
implants.
at Apache
Have they
Smash
altered your
on
memory
Twitter,
too?
this is what will happen to you. Solidus will come to you and do that. You don't want to do that, so please follow Apache at Apache Smash on Twitter.
Olga, you can't keep this up. They're bound to find you.
Listen, I'll free you in a little while. Brace yourself.
And now comes Jejunum. Jejunum is one of the scariest rooms in the run. It's right at the end of the game, and it's a room where you can lose a lot of time. And Tyler is going for the safe strat in Jejunum, because the risky strat is a strat where you cartwheel into one of the tangos and you get an alert and you go in evasion. That saves a second, even less, I believe. It saves like a third of a second if done perfectly. And yeah, it's really risky and really hard to do. And now the game becomes a Japanese samurai game because you get a sword and you are going to use it for only a fight. But you're supposed to learn it here, however, we do not learn it. We just slash it around and Tyler is typing something. I thought he was doing the BMN, where he just stands there and doesn't do anything. Don't do that. Move around, do something. Don't just stand there and not move. Yeah, I think that this will be an easy 69-minute run. Yeah, I won't make guesses on the times yet. I usually do that during credits, since you never know what can happen. And Tyler is doing the basic setup, where you shoot one of the tangos and you go in a spot. But that spot allows you to... It doesn't save time, it just allows you to more easily shoot the tangos. It's not really a time saver, it's more of a tool that makes that fight easier.
It came as a complete surprise when Ocelot discovered the S3 data from GW. Not a bad idea, though. Using fire to fight fire, creating the perfect assassin to retire Solid Snake's brother. S3 stands for Solid Snake Simulation. It's a development program to artificially reproduce Solid Snake, the perfect warrior. The result is a Foxhound Commando. When Foxhound no longer exists, a simulated Solid Snake shaped by VR regimen. Sound like someone...
So let's see how Mario deals with Tango on skip.
I'm sorry to see you reduced
You
to one
just
of
go
the
up
Patriot's
to the door,
puppets.
you will lean on
But
it,
I've made use
you will
of
do a
you
punch
as
kick,
their
and
plans.
while you're kicking, you remove
Solid
the
Snake's
first
sudden
person,
appearance,
you
your
lift your
arrival.
finger
It
off
was
the
obvious
button
the
and
Patriots were
you
among
go
my
into the load
ranks.
zone.
I
And
had
this
to
is a
scope
bad
out the
Tango one
agent
skip.
before the mission entered the final phase. You came in handy as bait. Jack, those days during the Civil War were as real as they come. Every day was absolute, split between life and death. You ran from it, and now you've been led back to war by something less than real.
So the raid fight, it's done in a few seconds. And beautifully done. The raid fight on
Are you
Varys
awake
is...
yet, Jack?
It's a joke compared to other difficulties.
GW, the Arsenal AI is corrupted beyond repair. I admit that I underestimated you.
You can do the raid fight on very easy, like, I don't know, 50 times in the time it takes you to do the fight
I'll
on
squeeze the answers out of you instead, my
European
son.
Extreme or Extreme. And I need to mention this again. That will happen to you if you don't follow Apache at Apache Smash on Twitter.
You know he doesn't know anything.
It's not him I want the answers from.
Solidus will come to you and he will choke you, and you don't want that. So coming up is the President of the United States. He specializes in swords, and you will fight him with swords on top of the Federal Hall. Quite an interesting fight, and my favorite fight. I just find this fight interesting, and it's quite good. The music, the scenery, everything. The only bad thing about this fight is the camera. The fight is basically a constant fight with the camera, since movement is camera relative for some reason. So what we do on Varys is we swipe once, go far enough. So what you do is you swipe him once, so that his defense, you break his defense pretty much. You swipe him 3 times, or you swipe twice, and I don't know how to call it, I guess impale him with the sword, and that will put him at a distance which is big enough to get the rockets without actually moving. However, if you're up against a ledge or a wall, you have to move, because that move of the sword is
Do you
not
remember this place?
good enough.
Of course.
It because
This
Solidus
is where
pretty
we
much
first
gets
met.
stuck in that
I
barrier,
remember
because
now.
you cannot push Solidus off the edge.
Today is the day
It's
I met
just
you.
a rule of the game, and GG
That's
for
it.
Tyler.
I think I found something to pass along. to
So
the
yeah, we
future.
can have Tyler join in
He said
if he wants to
living
talk.
things want their genes to live on.
Are you talking about the baby?
Yeah. The genes aren't the only thing you pass on. There are too many things that aren't written into our DNA. It's up to us to teach that to our children.
What kind of things?
About the environment, our ideas, our culture, poetry, compassion, sorrow, joy. We'll tell them everything together.
Is
So
that
let's see the Solidus fight for Mayu.
This is for your ears only.
Yeah, she was too close. That happens if you're too close. And yeah, you don't want that. You don't want to get hit by 2 attacks. Bad swiping. Quite a bad Solidus fight. And she got the long dash.
I stare at the stars and the sky up above and think, what am I made of? Am I full of sorrow? Am I hurt and pain? Or
And dash GG for Mayu.
I filled with love. I walk by myself on the streets below and ask every child I know, do you think tomorrow will bring
So my predictions for the times are, yeah, I would say mid 104 for Tyler. Actually, I would say like 437 for Tyler, 104.37, and for Mayo, low 107, 107 of 4 or 5.
I think those are fair assessments. A little unfortunate for Mayu with the solidus, but it happens. While we have a minute, I do want to remind anybody who is watching this that this is the MGS2 Very Easy League 2020 presented by Metal Gear Speedrunners. We have matches every week on Thursdays on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Metal Gear Speedrunners, for the next couple of months up until mid-January. It's an 11-week league, 11 players participating, playing 10 games. Then we will have a playoff in January to determine the ultimate champion of MGS2 Very Easy. Occasionally we also have matches in our Discord, which you can find links to join the Discord below. And sometimes we have matches on each of the runners' Twitch channels as well. So if you like Very Easy, you like competitive races, be sure to check us out. Notice anything from your perspective, Makarov? Anything you found interesting during this race?
Yeah, one of the biggest things that I found interesting was that Tyler picked up the sensor first and then defused the chassis bomb. That was an interesting move.
Probably just old muscle memory, to be honest. I mean, he is an old school runner from 1941, so once in a while I still do that.
Both of them messed up Harry a lot.
I guess while we have another minute or two, Makarov, how are you feeling about your race against the bye week this week?
Well, I think that I will definitely get a 1-1 for sure. My opponent is really bad and it doesn't even have a time.
Should be fun.
And one more interesting thing that I noticed is that Tyler messed up ladder glitch horribly.
Yeah, I think I saw it at the corner of my eye. Did he just opt to go down the ladder because he screwed it up or something?
He dropped down on the ledge and pretty much climbed down the ladder.
Okay, yeah, that's casual strats. It's cool. It happens. It's a pretty good tanker. It's pretty competitive. Alright, almost done with Tyler's credits. Mayu has a little bit to go yet. And as with all matches, we do go to IGT. Coming up to the score screen for Mr. Tyler.
104.37.
104.24. Oh, 440.
I was
That was
really close.
pretty close, yeah. Not a bad time, considering all the issues.
So 3 seconds off. That's quite a good guess for me.
Now we just gotta wait for Mayuu's, and we'll go ahead and wrap this little shindig up. We really haven't seen a lot of like 104s this league. It's been the most popular time is a 103X, so. But that's 4 104s for Tyler. That's the consistency. It'll win you games. That'll boost his record to, I believe, 2-2. So in the thick of things, in the thick of the playoff race, I think 4 or 5 wins should get you into the playoffs out of 10 games. About another minute for Mayu, just wrapping up those credits now. I'm going to say a 107 49.
One oh seven 23.
That would tie Mac McDee's time in week 1. Alright, survey says mash, mash, mash. Wow, 107.06. Not too bad, all things considered.
Yeah, pretty good.
But that will do it for this edition of Very Easy League. We will see you next time, and be sure to check out the Twitch channel, check out the Discord, look at the links in the description below. We'll catch you next time.